it is so striking. So many people have first learned about you through this. Of course, you have your own career, your own life, your own public advocacy that all independently got you here before people tried to undermine what your voters chose, which was you and these policies. So let's start there. What have you been advocating for that clearly upset so many of the people in charge of that legislature?
Yeah, well, first, I think about our brothers and sisters and siblings in Louisville who are suffering from another mass shooting. I believe it's over 140 thus far this year. There have been more mass shootings than there have been days this year. And there was a mass shooting right here in Nashville at the Covenant School where 6 people were killed, including 3 9-year-old children. And it was there on that day and that week, that Thursday, that 7,000 people came to our state capitol asking that we do something, where 9-year-old children and teenagers came from school, even at the threat of being suspended themselves, to say, am I next? And what is the State House going to do? But instead of our legislature doing everything they could within its power to wield its power to change the law, to implement red flag laws and background checks and things of this sort, they were silent. And myself, Representative Jones, Representative Johnson went to the well of the floor, and we listened to the voices of the people, and we advocated, and we told them that we have to do something. We told our colleagues we have to do something. But instead of passing laws that could prevent gun violence in our communities, instead of passing laws that could stop folks from buying weapons of war, they decided that it was better to file for our expulsions. And myself and Representative Jones were expelled because we were resisting the status quo that says the NRA deserves to write legislation in Tennessee instead of the people in District 86 and District 52 who we represent. And so we are fighting this anti-democratic behavior in this legislating of inequity here in Tennessee.
Right. And I think it's important you lay that out. People can hear that, and there can be good faith disagreements about trade-offs in policy, gun safety. But here the response was, as I said, undercut the voters, undercut democracy, which has been a rising problem here on the right. We have a little bit of one Republican talking about all this. Take a listen.
It was an insurrection. What they did was equivalent, at least equivalent, maybe worse, depending on how you look at it, of doing an insurrection in the Capitol.
That's a reference to the protests. You'll get the benefit of responding, but just as I was doing earlier in the program, I will do a fact check for viewers, just as the news. The sedition on January 6th was tried and convicted. So legally it was a convicted sedition, and we all know how much violence occurred. The protests were nothing of the sort. So as a factual and legal matter, that's false. My question for you is not to re-fact check it, although you may. It's your time, how you use it. My question to you is, what does it tell you that a part of the right, I'm not saying all Republicans, but some of them, and we see it especially in the South, feel the need to lie about history, whether it's the recent history of what I call the convicted sedition insurrection, to lie about this gun protest, to lie about the history of parts of America that people feel badly about or want to go away, that there was Jim Crow, that there was racism, that there is racism, that there was slavery, that there was capitalism built on a slavery economy. We can try to grow out of all these things, but you're there living through it. What is it about some of your colleagues who need to lie to everyone about what we've been through?
Yeah, Cameron Sexton, who's Speaker of the House, wielding his power and his voice to lie on my colleagues, but more importantly, even to lie on children and parents who are grieving the loss of their own loved ones, who just want to see us change gun laws to make them more sensible and to protect our communities, is despicable and disgusting and egregious. And the problem is he's in a position of significant power here, and Republicans are in significant positions of power, and they're abusing that power in order to foment anti-democracy, more like autocracy and a mobocracy than democracy that people expect of good ideas that lead to better solutions and resolutions. In our community, we want to see just laws passed, and we want the people who are elected to do that work. They're using these lies and they're fomenting these narratives to prevent them from having to take the deliberate and necessary actions against the NRA and gun lobbyists who are funding their campaigns. And so they are out of touch and out of line with hundreds of thousands, millions of Tennesseans who are saying, we want our kids to be safe at school, but you know what? We also want to be safe when we go to banks. We want to be safe when we go to the grocery store or go to the movie theater or go to church as well, which means that the false solutions that have been offered by the Republican Party and Cameron Sexton will not work and are not good enough to actually protect our communities. And indeed no lie can live forever. And that is our hope and our faith, and why I believe this movement to end gun violence in this moment in time is going to prevail.